Alright, hello and welcome! So, this is going to be the Devstream 84 breakdown. We've got some stuff to go over. So, first of all is Console War Within. That should actually be out, because I'm recording this a little later than I would really like to. But yeah, it should be out on PS4 and Xbox One, so you guys should get on that. Otherwise, we got some other news. We got details on the Infested Warframe. You can see his animation right here. This wasn't shown on stream. This was posted later. This is his animation for as he powers up and kind of grows. That's what that is. He's also holding one of the spear guns. I think there's going to be 3 released. I don't know if that's actually still the plan. They didn't specify, but that looks to be the Grineer one that they showed. So there's that. But we're just going to go top to bottom in order here. We have the Ember Deluxe Skin. So this looks really cool. Maybe some tweaks to Ember is a thing we could also get whenever this launches. But otherwise, this looks outstanding. We might get a dual blade or a gauntlet, perhaps, skin with that. Not sure. Either way, looks really good. I'm actually really excited for that because that would be a good excuse to play as Ember, which I don't normally have. So that's the Ember skin, which is really nice. Otherwise, we heard some news about the Limbo Rework. We got confirmation on one of the things that's going to change. So Rift access is going to change. In that it's no longer going to be associated with his powers themselves, which right now, if you don't know, access to the Rift is literally 3 of Limbo's 4 powers, and the last of his powers is a buff for the Rift. So that's a big change, which means things as like a whole for Limbo are going to change in a large way. So it's just going to be a movement thing that Limbo's going to be able to do, where like his dodge will just send him into the Rift and then out of the Rift, is how they kind of described it. So if that's unlimited in duration and lets Limbo really get a handle on controlling when he is in the Rift and when he is not, that sounds like it could be potentially very good. And they also kind of threw out the not really super confirmed idea that you would be able to put a bunch of enemies in the Rift and then kind of pause time in the Rift to eliminate them, which seems like that could be pretty useful. Seems like that would be something that a lot of Limbo players that don't mind his kind of slower pace would be really into. And sounds actually pretty cool to me as well. So that is sounding like it's going to be very good. But of course we will see whenever that is actually done. Then we got a little tiny tidbit of cosmetics news, because we haven't heard confirmation on this in a while. That is individual colors for all of your attachments. So that is being worked on, but the UI guys have been busy with like War Within stuff and like changes to UI overall. So they just need the time to do that, and they said maybe sometime during the beginning of the year we would get that. Which that's the thing that I very much want, because there's a lot of inconsistencies with a lot of Syndanas and armor sets in terms of what colors you're putting on them. So if that stuff can all just be perfect, that would really help out a lot of people coloring their stuff. Otherwise, we got to see some new weapons. Of course, the spear gun, which has an alt fire where you throw it and then you have to retrieve the spear, and it does have a time to return to you. It also has an AoE kind of fireball attack, so looked kind of interesting. Seeing the damage numbers on it is going to be the big thing, because throwing your weapon away is a big cost, and that needs to be worth it. So there was that, and then we also got to see this. So this is a thing that we've been asking for a while, which is a big pump action shotgun. So I think that this has the potential to be up there with the Heck and the Tigress, because it's going to shoot a little bit slower than the Heck, which means its damage will probably end up being a little higher. And then maybe it'll have good status. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting, and I personally really love shotguns, so another one of those going into the game that has a lot of potential to be really good is something I'm into. Also, its design is just... look at this. That's so good. But yeah, there's that. And then, moving on, let's talk a little bit more about Nidus, which is the Infested Warframe's name. So they showed off his powers and how they are currently working right now, and I am both excited and concerned. So, he is Inaros-like in that he has health only, and he has a special UI counter that he can build with his 1 for every enemy hit. He builds up ticks that can go up to 4. I don't know if there's a limit, actually. They built it up to 4, and then that let him use his 4. So Also, it was mentioned that you might only have to build it up to 3, and they're still tweaking how much things cost right now. But his one, whenever you hit enemies with it, will refund energy, which also gives you the potential to hit a shit ton of enemies with it and get energy, like, generated for you, which is really cool. And then beyond that, he's got his 2, which is like a... It's like a mixture between Valkyr's 1 and Vauban's 4. So that has the potential to have some like good crowd control effects that you can really build into. And then his 3 is the Symbiotic Link, which means that he links up with an enemy, and then any damage that he would take is just directed straight to them. And the interesting thing about that is that that's going to make him pretty much unkillable at high levels as long as teammates can't damage his Symbiotic Link target. Because enemies have such an absurd amount more health than we do that it is absurd. So enemies can't kill each other very well, but they can kill us pretty good. If he can just tap into the you can't kill me health of high-level enemies, he'll be very, very hard to take down. Besides that, though, the part that I'm worried about. So, his 4 infests an area and spawns these little pods that maggots will jump out of that will jump on enemies and explode / crowd control them. I don't know how I feel about it, because it seemed to be doing basically nothing to level 15 enemies. Like, they were a little bit stumbled, but yeah, I don't know. It seemed really weak. Like, I want to see its final form, of course, but for something that you have to use your 1 to build up a special counter and, like, do all this other extra shit to get to, having to, like, end up with that seeming kind of like a moot point, and that ability is not incredibly strong, seems kind of stupid and silly, because what we saw of the ability didn't look like it was worth 50 energy, to be honest, and it's definitely not worth energy plus like a special counter. So hopefully we'll see more with how that works, and there's something that I'm missing with it. But yeah, it seemed not great. That's the only part of him that seemed not great, though. So I think he will end up being at least workable. I mean, he is a Naros-like, which means he'll be incredibly hard to kill anyway. He had about 1100-ish health, which I think was without Vitality mods, so there's a lot of potential for him. He also has passive health regeneration, so that helps his case quite a bit. So, the last 2 things we're going to talk about are upcoming things. So, Rivens. We're going to be getting secondary Rivens by the end of the year, which means they've probably entirely given up on trying to make that system workable and do what it set out to do. So hooray. We're getting secondary Rivens. Great. Anyway, we're also going to be getting the Index, which I'm actually excited for, by the before the end of the year, and that's going to be not like a kind of tactical alert mini event like it was before. It's going to be fleshed out into a full event, which is hopefully very, very good. Maybe we'll get the Nefanyo fight finally. But yeah, there's some good news in there. Seeing this guy in action was pretty nice. Good overall. I feel like this guy is bordering on, like, he's at the direct border of, like, really interesting and good. He's like Volt. I feel like he's like, what I saw of him just yelled Volt at me, where Volt has like good powers that are all good, but he just doesn't have like the 4th power to link it all up and make it all good. Yeah, that's my fear with the Infested Warframe right now. But he looks fucking cool, as you can see. Those are his default colors, by the way. He is pink normally. But yeah, that's Devstream 84. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Really short one.